Alright guys, we're going to start with a magic circle. We're going to be building the legs, and the arms are just about the same as the legs. We're going to build that the same other than switching colors. So to start off your magic circle, you're just going to wrap this around, bringing this piece of yarn behind this one. Go across your ring finger and grab it with your pinky. Then you're going to come up through here. You're going to grab this guy. You're going to turn. You're going to pick up this yarn and you're going to bring it through the hole. And that's your magic circle. It's already secure. You've already done your chain one. It's not coming undone. So to put your single crochets into your magic circle, which with this one we're going to be doing 8, I like to just hold these two pieces and I do it really close to the knot, and I take my finger down here and I just spread the ring open just to hold it taut. So after you've put your 8, you can pull on this, but I wouldn't totally close it right away because it'd be hard to get into your stitches if you do. So we're working in the spiral, amigurumi style, I can't say that. And so we're not slip stitching or chaining or anything. We're just going to go straight into this very first stitch, and we're going to put 2 single crochets into every stitch around, so you should have a total of 16, so you can just count as you go. And this is 16. So now you can pull your circle tight. Or not. You can wait till you're completely done if you want to. So for the next 3 rows, you're going to put 1 single crochet into every stitch around. And you can use a stitch marker if you want. I'm probably just going to count. But if you use a stitch marker, then you're just going to make your first chain, stick your stitch marker in there, and then you don't really need to count. So that's stitch 1 if you're counting, and this would be number 2. And 16. So that's our first row. You can take your stitch marker out. Put your first stitch in. Put your marker back. So you can turn this guy inside out at this point. We've only got one more row to go. And then we're going to decrease. So we're going to go from 16 stitches down to 12 stitches, but for now we're just going to do one more row of 16 stitches. Oh, I just did 2 extra. See, my mind just goes off. I did 18 instead of 16. So, I'm back around. It's nice and tight, just like it should be with amigurumi style. I'm just going to close this again. I don't know why it keeps coming open. And we're going to start our decrease. So I'm going to put in my stitch marker here. And the decrease is going to be a single crochet, so 2 single crochets. So I already have 2. My stitch marker's on the one, and this single crochet, 2 single crochets, and then your decrease. So you, just like we've been doing, you single crochet 2 together. Now some people would like to do an invisible decrease, so that means you do the same thing but in the front loops only. And in my opinion it looks exactly the same, so we're just going to do a normal decrease. So 2 single crochets, and 1 in each stitch, and then another decrease. And oh my god, a straggler. Two more single crochets, It gets hard on the hands after a while, hard on the fingers. And then our decrease. And then 2 more single crochets. And the last 2 stitches are just going to be for our decrease. I gotta take this out. It's really in my way. We have 3 stitches left, and let's do something with this. That's the outside. We're not turning this inside out, so snip it off as close as you can. So now that we're down to 12 stitches, we are just going to do 8 rows of single crochets all the way around. So I'm probably not going to do all 8 rows with you. But you can use a stitch marker, you can just count. Alright, that's 12. So, do 7 more rows. So 8 all together. So do 7 more rows and I'll meet you right back here after. Alright guys, once you've got your foot done, all your 8 rows done after we did the decrease, and you fastened off, just go into this stitch, grab your yarn and pull it through, and that will bring that down so it's even with the top. And then after we stuff it, we're going to sew with this piece. So get your stuffing. I'm just going to put some down in there. If you can't get your finger down there, you can just use your crochet hook, or some people use scissors. Some people use chopsticks. Whatever's going to get it down there. Don't need to overstuff it. Hold on a second. I had to mute my TV. So don't overstuff it, because you still need to sew this together and then you still need to sew it on, so you don't want it overstuffed. So we're just going to come around and do a whip stitch. And you don't have to pull tight, but just make sure you're going back loop to back loop. Alright, so let's at least sew this one leg on. So I like to just hold it like this, wherever I'm going to put my leg. And I just like to go in just like this. You can do these stitches either way you want. You can sew it like a regular, because either way it's staying on. You certainly don't want to see the yarn. So just go in back and forth like you're sewing normally. Now some people like to do the front and the back. I personally don't think it matters, but if you wanted to, you can certainly do that. It's not going to hurt anything. Just added security. That's all it is. Just to make sure that leg doesn't come off. So pull your yarn tight. And so because you're not doing a stitch that's visible, really, it doesn't really matter where you go in and where you pop out, because no one's going to see the yarn. I'm struggling with this needle. I should have used a different needle. So I'm just going to pull that snug, and then I'm just going to kind of come back and go right up this leg, and I'm just going to pop out somewhere. And then I'm just going to weave it in. And cut it off. And there's our first leg sewn on. So the other leg will, when we stuff it, will kind of go like that. So I've already pulled my yarn through that stitch. I just need to stuff this. Here's something banging around. That's my crock pot lid. It tends to do that. But if you've watched this channel enough, you'll know. So again, I'm not going to overstuff it. I'm going to use a different needle. It was hard to do. So pull that so that it's even. I'm just going to come around and snug that up, and then I'm just going to go through the 2 back loops of each stitch, not really pulling tight. Don't really need to for any reason. This is getting sewn onto something, so you just want to make sure it's closed so nothing spills out. That's all. Then we're going to come over here and we're going to do the same thing and get your leg where you want it. And then we're just going to kind of hold it there while we go through into the doll. So if you're struggling to get your needle out, you might have to use a pair of pliers sometimes. I guess doing it on camera might be helpful to you. So I'm just gonna stick my needle into this guy and I'm just gonna pop up somewhere. It's not going to unravel, but just in case, I'll weave it. There we go. And you can give that a snip. There, my two legs. The two legs sewn on. So now we can move on to arms. So our arms are the same except for what's going on with my yarn here? My arms are the same except for we change colors. So we're going to first start with this white, the color that you've been using. And we're unfortunately doing another magic circle. So your magic circle I'll walk through again. So you're going to use these two fingers. You're going to wrap it around. You're going to come behind that piece of yarn over your ring finger and grab this with your pinky. Then you're going to come up under him. You're going to grab a hold of this guy. You're going to turn just like that. You're going to pick up this yarn and you're going to pull it through that hole. Oh. And if you have yarn like me, you're going to do that. So, in all one fell swoop, your magic circle is all ready to go. So, hold your two ends. If you find it easier, just close the circle if you find it easier. And you're going to put 8 single crochets into the center. So once you have your 8, you can pull your tail. It doesn't have to be pulled tight. You can do that later. And you're going to do the exact same thing you've done with the legs. You're going to put 2 single crochets in each stitch around for a total of 16. And that's 16, and my yarn is stuck. Okay, so once you're done your 16, you can do your 3 rows of single crochets all the way around for 16. When you're done your 3 rows, that's when we're going to change colors. So you can put in a stitch marker if you want. You can pull your circle closed now. One more row. Alright, so now that we have our 3 rows of 16 stitches, we can change colors at this point. So thankfully, to get away from this white. So I'm going to go back to my pink, obviously, because it matches the shirt. I'm just going to lay my yarn over here. I'm going to pull that closed a little bit. I'm just going to come through that, so you can pull that tight as well. And I don't need that. I don't know why I'm holding on to it. And you are now, we pull up some pink. This is now going to be your decrease row, so I'm going to try to get my white and my pink tail in with my stitches. If it's too difficult, then you don't have to. But you're going to do 2 single crochets. We're going to do decreases now. So 2 single crochets, and then you're going to do a decrease together. So in the first stitch, pull up some yarn, go into the second stitch, pull up some yarn, and then come through all three. And then single crochet, a single crochet, and then a decrease. So you're single crocheting 2 together. Single crochet, single crochet, and then your decrease. So we didn't need a stitch marker here because we've changed colors. A single crochet, a single crochet, and a decrease. So we're back here where our stitch marker would be, which would be here. So I'm going to put in a stitch there, and I'm going to get a stitch marker. I seem to have lost the one I had. I'm going to get the stitch marker, and I'm going to put it in that stitch, and then from here you can cut this off. You can cut this short. It's just going to get stuffed anyway, so we're going to do the 8 rows. While I'm tucking everything away, I'll just tuck this guy away. So all that's left is what we did on the legs is 8 rows of single crochets for 12 stitches around, because after the decrease that's what you should have, is 12 stitches around. And you're going to make 2 of these. So I'm not going to make them with you because of time constraints and stuff like that. But I will put the words on the screen of what this whole pattern is. So not just the words won't be just starting at where I'm leaving you. It'll be starting at the whole pattern. So I'll put those words up right now. I'm going to complete my 8 rows of the pink, and I'm going to make 2 of these for the arms, and then I'll meet you back here and we'll sew them on and then get to the ears. All right, so I'm just finishing up. I just got to do my slip stitch and fasten off. Alright, so I've got both of mine done. Oh yeah, I gotta hide this guy. So let's go ahead and get this ready. Good enough. Snip that off nice and close. So let's put some stuffing in this guy and these guys. And again, we're going to do the same thing with the feet. We're not going to overstuff. Oh, and yes, I do realize, by the way, before you mention that this is a lot larger than this one. It's the exact same pattern. It's just because we used the pink yarn, which is thicker than the white yarn. So if yours turned out like that, you didn't do anything wrong. That's exactly what was supposed to happen, because the arms are bigger than the legs. But because white and off-white and all them are generally a different size than your typical 4-weight, then I mean it was bound to happen. So I'm going to thread my needle, maybe. Let's try it with my proper hand. So I'm just gonna, that might be able to stick a bit more down there. So I'm just gonna pull that tight, and then I'm just gonna come across, just like we did with the other ones. Alright, so I am going to just attach it just underneath the turtleneck here on that line, and then trying to get part way. I never get my arms even, I'm telling you right now. So I'm just going to squeeze it right where that line is, and I'm going to put my arm, trying to get that seam in the middle of my arm. Does that make sense? And go in through my arm. I'm going to try not to take the needle up past that line, because I don't want it to be crooked. And I'm really, really holding it tight into place. So I know everybody's, you know, all about doing both sides, but if I do the other side of this arm, it's not going to, it's going to be more up like that than just kind of down. So I'm not doing the other side of the arm. And I don't even really think that I have to, because I mean the way you're sewing it on is nice and tight. So I'm just gonna come up through, and I'm just going to kind of weave it. And then now we got to try to do the same thing with the other arm. So that's the hard part, is getting my arms even. I don't think I've done one yet where my arms are even. It's not noticeable, only to me, but, and it is only going to a child, I get that, but sometimes I can be pretty anal about stuff like that. So arm number 2, again, trying to stay on that line, and then halfway, and then halfway onto that seam. Wish me luck. So we're going to put him back into shape, since we just squished them all around. So the ears, are probably the longest time consuming part. Um, Not so much sewing on, but just making them. So we'll discuss how these get sewn on after, because they kind of look funny. And I know they look funny, but when this thing is sitting up, you can move his ears, so you can bend it, and like we're not stuffing these. Ears don't get stuffed, they're just like that, but you can bend it and make him a floppy eared rabbit, and you know, stuff like that. You can manipulate it, but when the ears are laying down flat, it almost just looks like hair, and I didn't like that, so that's why I lifted it like that in the middle, so that you can tell that they're ears, and then you can put them in any position you want. So he's a floppy eared rabbit. So that's the whole meaning behind the ear. So this is going to start off a magic circle again. So I know magic circles suck for a lot of people. So I'll put that part in slow motion. So for the ears, you're going to do 6 single crochets into the center. Pull your little tail. So you're going to put 2 single crochets, maybe, into each stitch around, working in the spiral, just like we have been doing. So you should have a total of 12. So we've come full circle and we've got 12 stitches. So at this point we're going to increase. We want to have, altogether we want to have 24. So we're going to do an increase up to 16 stitches. So that's just going to be 1 single crochet in the first stitch, 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and you're just going to do that 2 1 2 1 2 1 sequence all the way around. So let's put our stitch marker in. So that's my 1 stitch. So the next stitch is going to get 2 stitches. And then the next stitch is going to get 1 stitch. Then the next is going to get 2. So you've come all the way around to your stitch marker. You should have 16 stitches. So this counts as one stitch. You're going to go 1, 1, 2 this time. So this is 1. The next stitch gets 1. So that's 1, 1. And the next stitch gets 2. Two in this last stitch, and if 2 isn't following, doesn't follow into that last stitch, then your row before didn't have the right amount of stitches. So now you should have 24 stitches, and you're going to single crochet 1 in each hole for 24 for the next 3 rows. There's 1. We'll put our stitch marker. That's the first row. So I'll meet you back here after you've done the other 2 rows, and we'll start our decreases. Alright guys, so now we are at the decrease. So our decrease is going to be done in 4 rows, and the first decrease is going to be 5 single crochets. Oops. I'm starting off great with this yarn. So 5 single crochets, 1 in each hole. And then you're going to do your decrease, so that's 2 stitches single crochet together like we've been doing. And then again 5 stitches and then your decrease. And I think we're back to the stitch marker, which I forgot to put in, but I'm pretty sure I've gone all the way around. So I'm going to actually put the stitch marker in this time. So for your next row, your decrease is going to be 4 single crochets and a decrease. So we've already done 1. That's where we put our stitch marker in. So that's number 2, 3, 4, and then the decrease. And then my decrease. So you should have ended off on your decrease. I'm assuming I put my marker in the wrong spot. So that's no big deal. So I'm going to put my marker in the right spot this time, hopefully. So this next row is going to be 3 single crochets and a decrease. So we're just going to down 1 single crochet every single time. So we are done. That's the last stitch. I'm just going to put a single crochet in. So we are done with our decreases. So now we are going to, we should have 16 stitches. Let me see if I've done all of this right. 2, 3, 4, 5. So you should have 16 stitches. And all we're going to do is single crochet all the way around. Now you can use a stitch marker or you can just count. So we're going to do a single crochet all the way around for the next 12 rows, and then we're going to decrease again, but for the next 12 rows I just want you to single crochet around. So you can pause the video here, and I'll meet you back here after the 12 rows are done. Hi guys, so now that we've got our 12 rows of 16 done, we're going to do one row of a decrease and then one row of single crochets, and then we're all done. You can make your second one after. So that's one stitch with your marker. So our decrease is just going to be 2 single crochets and then a decrease. So this is stitch 1 with our stitch marker. This is number 2 of single crochets. And then our decrease is the same as what we've been doing. Go in, grab some yarn, go in stitch number 2, grab some yarn, and then pull through all 3. So all the way around. And then you're going to end on the 2 single crochets. So the next row is just going to be 1 single crochet in each stitch around. Sorry, I was talking with a stitch marker in my mouth. So 1 single crochet in each stitch around. There. So take your stitch marker out, obviously. We're going to slip stitch into the next stitch. So do your slip stitch. Fasten off with a long piece for sewing. Pull that through, pull your knot tight. Go into the next stitch beside that, so we can just pull that through. Just like that. Now my little piece of yarn is on the inside of that. I'm not going to pull it through and screw around with it. It's fine exactly where it is. So the ears do not get stuffed at all. They're pretty sturdy because of the yarn that I used. So if you want to stuff your ears, you can go right ahead. I'm not stuffing my ears. So I'm just going to sew this together. Actually, if you want your ears to be bendable, you can put pipe cleaners inside your ears with a little bit of stuffing to hold it in place. There's another rabbit video, of another bunny video that I'm going to be doing that's not so easy peasy. It's not so beginner friendly, and it's not really hard either. But it is a kind of an intermediate video instead of a beginner video. But I'm going to be doing that, and I'm going to be doing the ears and the arms with the pipe cleaners, and the legs with the pipe cleaners in there, just so that they move and they bend. So you can for these too if you want to, but I am not going to for this. Just a simple beginner video, and it's a beginner project. And you know what, my kids absolutely love them. My grandkids, they absolutely love them regardless of whether I have anything in the ears or not. So I'm just going to do what we've done this whole time with the top. So there's a couple of ways you can sew these on. So for these guys, I just sewed it right to the top. And then I pulled it up, and I put a couple of stitches in there just to hold them up from the head. So you can do it that way, or you can put your ears on this way. So it's completely up to you. You can put your ears on this way, or you can do it the other way. This one, I don't think I need to show you how to sew the ears on this way, but I will show you how I sewed the ears on my way. So I just laid it flat and tried to get it in the middle. So I just kind of did this and had a look. See. That one kind of goes over a little bit. And I mean, it kind of sort of, you're not going to get it perfectly in the middle, but once I think I've got it where I want it, I just pop the head up like this. So there's one ear on. It's such a fast, easy peasy way to do it. Might have way too much yarn for this one, but so I'm just gonna try to get that up as close as I can to the other one, obviously. I'm just going to go around back here, and I'm just going to put my needle through to the front. So I pop right out the front like that. And then I like to just bring my ears up and put a couple of stitches just to hold them up a bit. Just a couple. You don't need any more than that. But when they lay flat, it just looks like it's bunny hair. Oh, good lord. So that's why I decided just to put a couple stitches, and you can shape in your ears any way that you want. So it just kind of keeps them held up at the top. So you bring your yarn around the back part, and anything that's sticking up, like this piece, this little piece here. I'm just gonna put my needle down through, and then just right down through my doll in the white, preferably. And I'm gonna pull through if I can without pliers. So I just want to pull that down, and then I just wanted to kind of weave it in back and forth, just so it doesn't pop open. And pull that out a little bit. You can just snip that off. Or you can secure it any way you want. But there, we are all done. And you can bend these ears any way that you want. You can have a floppy-eared guy. I can pull him forward and stick him near his face. But there you have it. There you have it, your little bunny. He doesn't sit up unless he's leaning up against something, because I didn't make the legs like that, but the other bunny that I do will. So thanks for joining me, guys. I hope you like that. I'll see you in the next video.